All right, welcome everybody to this Tuesday afternoon team call. I'm super excited about this team call because as you know, this year we are working on a book club, reading personal development books together. We just finished this incredible book, High Performance Habits. It took us 6 weeks. And we've been meeting at this time Tuesdays at noon to discuss what we're learning, share ideas and whatnot. And last book club, we picked a new book. It's called Stories That Stick. And we are starting our reading today. So our first Zoom meeting for that, thanks for sharing that. Jennifer has it up there. It's by Kendra Hall. That's the next book that we are going to be reading. And we are starting right now. And then our first Zoom meeting will be next week. This book, the reading will be much easier, shorter reading assignments, and much quicker to read. I started reading this morning and she's really entertaining in her storytelling. And I was just really captivated by it. So I'm super excited about that. But this team call is special because this year we're all book club meetings, and then we're just squeezing Paige in here on Valentine's Day because I wanted you guys to hear from her. I had the opportunity to meet Paige as kind of a complete stranger, but not stranger, because she's a part of Team BODi. She's an elite coach. So we're in a group that you get added to by Beachbody Corporate for 5-star diamonds and above called the Round Table. And when we had some rooms open for our 10th annual ski trip, I put a post in there, and I remember Paige was like, oh, that would be so fun to go to something like that. But my husband is principal. And so I wrote her a private message. I was like, you could come. I think I commented like, you could bring a friend. And then I messaged her privately. I was like, hey, you could bring one of your coaches or a friend. It's going to be awesome. And she committed, she looked at flights. Her and her friend, Shelby, came to our retreat, not knowing any of us. So she walked into this group of like 4 couples that does this every year, and they fit right in, and we had the best time with them. And so that just kind of shows you the type of person that Paige is. She just has an incredible energy, great personality. She's a wife and a mom of 2. She's a former teacher. With her team, they hit Elite 1 time, hit Premier 2 times, and she's also hit Success Club for 68 months. So she's incredible at what she does as a coach. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the time over to you, Paige.
You guys, I am so excited to be here with you, and even more excited that somehow, by the grace of God, my children are sleeping together right now. Like, both of them are asleep. I have a 6-month-old and I have a 2.5-year-old, and I got them down successfully for this call. So that's how you know it's meant to be. And also, I cannot pass up the opportunity to explain to you how impactful a personal invite is, because I told Scotty on the trip, that's actually literally why I decided to go. Like, I was thinking in my mind that it would be such a cool opportunity to go to Colorado with this group of people. But because he personally invited me after he did a public invite, I was like, okay, this is like, why would I not do this? It just got me thinking even more about it when he got into my inbox. And I think we can apply that to our businesses too. You can publicly invite people all day long, but something changes whenever you face your fear and you get into their inbox. Not that Scotty had any fear inviting to that, because why would you? Like, it was incredibly valuable, but we also have to believe that the thing we're inviting to is incredibly valuable. And people who aren't accepting our invite are actually missing out. And had I not accepted Scotty's personal invite to the trip, I would have been missing out. And because I said yes, I didn't really know what was next, but I got to experience a really memorable trip that for me is probably going to be this stake in the ground moment where I'm like, I can do this. Like, I can do this bigger and better than I ever thought. So what I really want to do today is I want to remind you the power of what we get to do as coaches partnered with BODi, because I think it's so easy to get into your head about like, am I the only one that this has changed my life? Or like, are we the only team that experiences life change with BODi? Because my life is different in every single way, from saying yes to becoming a Beachbody coach or body partner, whatever we're saying. It's going to be so difficult to change that up. But my husband and I were talking about this last night. I was like, okay, this is my topic. And I like, how do you explain, how do you share your story when every single part of your life has actually been touched and changed? But I think probably most of you here, like you understand that on some level that your life has been changed. But I think it's so hard to convey on your social media and even in your real life how much it has changed. And sometimes you start to think, am I crazy? Has my life actually changed as much as I think it has? And I'm here to tell you, yes, it has. And you are not the only one that has experienced life change through this. And if you can get really bold and good at explaining how it's changed your life, then other people also want that too. Okay, so like Scotty said, I used to be a teacher and I had no thoughts whatsoever that I would ever stop being a teacher. I just thought that I would do it. Funny thing is, I went to college to be a business major. I declared that as my major, and somehow after like 6 months of doing that, I switched to education. So I taught for 5 years, and then I was able to walk away and be a Beachbody coach full time. But before I signed up, the reason I signed up is because I needed money. I needed a second job. I hate to tell you that teachers don't really make enough money to be like living a normal life, traveling, eating out, paying bills, and also paying things like student debt. And that was exactly the situation that I found myself in. I was 2 years into teaching and my loans had been deferred. I don't really know why. I guess maybe you get 2 years to start paying on them. And it was March. And in May, my husband was like, hey, by the way, like our time is up and we're going to have to start paying those bills now. I'm like, okay, what is it? You guys, $800 a month. That is not something small for 2 teachers. $800 a month was looming over my head. And I was like, our lives are going to change. Like we don't have enough wiggle room to pay $800 a month for these stupid loans and also continue traveling and eating out or even buying anything extra. So insert massive stress into my life. I was like, what are we going to do? And honestly, it felt like Beachbody coaching kind of fell into my lap. I told my husband, I want a job, like a second job on top of teaching that I can be excited about. I can be my own boss and actually have fun doing. I literally said those words to him before I found coaching. And we kind of laughed at that. Like, yeah, good luck finding that. Like, what would that even be? And this was in 2017. So I don't feel like the influencer world was really very big yet. People were not showcasing ways to work from home yet. I feel like it's a little bit more now. But whenever I saw coaching, I was like, I really think I could do that. Like, I think that I want to give that a try. And my husband was super skeptical. I don't know if you guys have experienced that or people on your teams have experienced that, but he literally was like, is this a pyramid scheme? And are you going to lose money? Like, what is this? I'm like, I don't really know, but I do trust the girl that I've been talking to. And if she can pay off her student loans, she was a teacher too, then I think that I can do that too. And I think that attitude is one of the things that has made me most successful as a coach. From day one, my attitude was, if she can, I can. Like, why in the world not? If one person goes before you and shows you what's possible, you have to believe that you can do that too. Okay. Here's where it gets crazy. I was the girl before Beachbody who just wanted to be skinny, always wanted to be smaller, calorie counter, didn't really know how to be healthy. And that is the first thing that changed my life about Beachbody. It was the first time I was a teacher and volleyball coach. It was the first time I made it through volleyball season, which this might not sound like a big deal to you, but it was to me, that I made it through volleyball season coaching, like volleyball coaching, still doing my workouts. Like I used to quit every single volleyball season because I was too busy. And I think that was the first moment where I was like, well, this is cool. Like I've always quit before, and I kept completing programs through my volleyball season. And that's when I knew that the health side really stuck. All the while I was sharing my journey super authentically on social media. I was not trying to be an expert because I wasn't. I was extremely forward about the fact that all of it was new to me. One of the very first things I did was I was like, you guys, I'm addicted to diet soda and I'm going to quit. Like literally, I would drink probably 2 to 3 diet sodas every single day. And publicly, I was like, I'm going to quit. And I dropped diet soda like that. And it just stopped cold turkey. And that was like I think that was the first thing that showed me, like, people want to be on the journey with me. Like, they don't want me to show them that I'm an expert, because I'm not. I need to be authentic in the way that I'm sharing this. And people caught on, and people were like, okay, she's actually making changes. And when I was able to post my first before and after pictures, that was really when people were like, oh, okay, like, this is real, this is working. And she's seeing changes. And that's whenever my business side really picked up. Okay. I was sharing this with Scotty in Colorado too, that the first time that I was like, wow, the business can change my life, was my first $400 check in a week. And insert the disclaimer, like, I'm not promising you that you can make $400 in a week, but I just will never forget. It was Thursday. I had forgotten to check my check that morning, which was unusual for me. And it was like this moment, my husband and I got in bed and I was like, oh, I didn't check my check today. Like, I need to see what I made. And I looked at it and it said $400, and I gasped and I was like, what? Like $400? And that was the spark in my mind that I was like, I can do something with this. $400 a week is no small thing. And I think that was when it was planted in my brain that I would eventually do it full time. I just didn't know quite how soon. Okay. So this was the fall of my first year. Okay. Moving into the spring of my very first year, this is when the life change like really took hold of me. And I started to be more passionate about this than any time in my life. Something felt off in me. There's a long story behind that, and I could tell it to you a different day, but I'm not going to take up your time right now telling that. Something fell off, and I visited a friend, and she asked me if I'd been to counseling. There was something basically long, it's a very long story, but I'll make it short for you. I want to be honest with you. There was sexual trauma in my past from middle school. This is something that I shared with my mentor in college. Haven't shared it with very many people up until that point. And she asked me if I'd ever gone to counseling for it. I thought I was doing great, you guys. In that moment, when I visited her, I was like, I'm fine. Like, I'm completely fine. I'm okay. But what it turns out was happening was, since it happened till this conversation with her, I had been stuffing what happened to me and pretending like the trauma didn't happen and calling myself okay. But when I started to take care of my physical health, it was like my emotional and mental health was screaming for a chance to heal too. And because of Beachbody, you guys, like, it is no small thing. It is not lost on me that if I hadn't started this, I would have never gone to counseling. Like, I have no doubts about that. The connections I made, the income I made that paid for the counseling, and then the whole mission of Beachbody, like, we're just now changing to BODi because it's, where we can feel good. And we know it's so much more than physical results. We've always known that. And that's why my story is so powerful, because it's way more than physical results. Because of Beachbody, when I got my physical health in line for the first time, my mental and emotional health needed that too. And it is not a coincidence that I decided to sign up for counseling the day or the week after, I don't remember exactly, I finished 80-Day Obsession. It was the hardest mentally taxing program I've ever done in my life. But because of that, because of the courage I built up, because of the boldness and strength I built up during that program, because of the endurance I built up, I knew that I was strong enough to walk into a counseling office and also face what was going on internally. I had done so much work externally, and I knew it was time to heal. So I started counseling in May of 2018 for something that I stuffed way down deep for, over a decade. And because of Beachbody, I went. Because of Beachbody, I was able to pay for it. And because of Beachbody, I'm standing here today healed from it. And let me first say, because of Jesus and how he led me to Beachbody. Let me make that very clear. Beachbody is not my savior, but Jesus led me here. I have no doubts about that. Okay. But when I started counseling, it was absolutely the hardest season I've ever walked through in my life. I don't know if you've ever been to counseling. I don't know if you've ever had to work through something that's been emotionally wrecked you, but that was me. And I was teaching. I can't even put into words how hard life felt for the next year. I was working through trauma that I had to dig out of my brain and out of my heart that had been stuck there for a decade. I was healing my marriage because whenever you have sexual trauma in your past, it also impacts your marriage. Like so much was going on. And I was having to go to school every day and teach middle schoolers and put on this brave face and like stuff what was going on in my life in order to show up as a professional. But all the while I had Beachbody in the background that was helping me make it through and helping me show up to teach every single day. I don't want to think about what it would have been like to try to go to counseling without having a routine that kept me grounded. I don't want to think about that. And the crazy part about how God used all of this is not only did it start with my physical, and then it was like my mental and emotional was screaming like we need attention too. So then my mental and emotional got in check with counseling, with lots of hard work. And then after that, God was like, what about me? Like you've got your physical in check, you've got your mental and emotional in check. What about your spiritual? So that last year of teaching, as I was healing, walking through the hardest time of my life, I also began to cling to the Lord in ways I never have before. Never. I have been a Christian my whole life, basically. I was raised in the church, but it wasn't until those moments in my darkest, hardest days that I committed really to having a real intimate relationship with the Lord. And I shared that on my social media too. You want to talk about authentic, you want to talk about scary. It's showing up on social media saying, listen, this is where I am. I didn't share any details, by the way, on social media. You do not have to air your dirty laundry on social media to make an impact. People did know that I was going through a hard time. I was clear about that because I didn't know how to not be clear about that. Like I was struggling so hard, but I never came out and like spilled my guts because I didn't need to. It was nobody's business but mine. And people were very respectful about that. But I began to share my journey of like reading my Bible for the first time. That's scary. Like that's scary to open up about that. But what I want you to hear is how life-changing Beachbody was for me. Because I said yes, my physical health changed. Because my physical health changed, it bled into my mental and emotional health. And once my mental and emotional health began to heal, my spiritual health followed as well. What we have to offer can change somebody's whole life. And I have chills, like I'm sweating and I have chills right now because I don't ever want to forget that. And when you for a moment get scared to invite somebody to what we have to offer, you remember that it can touch every single part of a person's life. And I am walking proof of that. It's touched every single part of my life. And not only did that change, but during that year, I was able to walk away from teaching to pursue this full time. And after that, we got pregnant and I got to start a family and I'm home with my family now. And all of that, I have a tattoo on my arm. You probably can't read it, but it says free. And I got it this summer after I left teaching. And so many people thought it was because I left teaching. They're like, oh, you're free from the classroom. Like, okay, I don't have enough time to explain to you what this actually means, but if you want to believe that, you can believe that. But what my tattoo actually symbolizes for me is the freedom in my life. I have to credit God, okay? Ultimately from him. But that Beachbody has given me to change my life, to heal me as a person, and to allow me to walk away from a career, to experience ultimate freedom in my life, and to raise my children and make an income at the same time. It's mind-blowing the ways Beachbody has changed my life. And it is a gift that we have to offer to everybody. Okay. So I want to finish up by giving you some practical things. Okay. I think there are 3 things that are never, ever, ever going to change in Beachbody. Okay. Number 1 of them is you have to know that things are going to change. I've been a coach for just 5 years, almost 6 years, and things have changed over and over and over again. And you have to decide right now that you are on board with changes, that changes are a good thing. If you tell yourself that change is hard, you don't like change, blah, 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 you are not going to embrace it and you're not going to grow. Not only that, when Beachbody has their own changes, but you have to be willing in your own business to change things that aren't working. Think about your challenge groups. Are you having fun in your challenge group right now? Truly, I want you to think about that. Where are you running your challenge groups? Are you doing it through the app? Are you doing it on Facebook? Are you doing it on Marco Polo? Are you doing a texting group? How are you doing it? And are you enjoying it? If you are not enjoying your challenge group right now, your people aren't either. And I'm a firm believer that your challenge group is the backbone of your business. Think about it. Go back to the example of Scotty in the house. He probably wouldn't invite people if he didn't think it was going to be a good time. Like, he was confident. I can tell you that much. He listed the people that were going. He told us that we were going to have a great time. He said it was in a mansion. Like, he made this trip enticing because he knew without a doubt it was enticing and it was good and it was valuable. If you don't believe that your group can be life-changing, if you don't believe that it's a good time, if you don't believe that people are going to experience change within your challenge group, your invites are going to reflect that. Whether you know it or not, if it's in the back of your mind that you don't like your challenge group, they feel it too. You need to be bold and brave. How can you change your challenge group to make you enjoy it? And it doesn't have to look like anything you've ever seen before. It doesn't have to be on the BODi app or Facebook. You could do something in person. Maybe your challenge group is you have a texting group and you meet together on Mondays every Monday evening, and you do a live workout together and you talk to people. Like, it can be something that's different. And I would challenge you to do something different, especially with the changes that are coming to BODi. You have ultimate control. You are a business owner. You can make changes, but change is certain, both in BODi and in your business. You cannot, and this is one of the biggest things I took from Colorado, but you cannot operate how you're operating currently and get to the next level. Like, what do you need to change to grow? Because at some point you're going to realize the level at which you're operating can only get you so far. And then you have to level up again and say, what do I need to change? How do I need to grow to get to the next step? And that doesn't change. Like, change is going to happen. Okay. Second one is authenticity is king. I know it's so easy, especially with social media, to look left and to look right and ask yourself, what is that person that's doing that's working? And can I tell you a secret? This might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm okay with that. I don't listen to the National Wake Up Call every week. I can't listen to the National Wake Up Call every week because it has me rethinking my business every single week. And I can't do that. Like, I have to be authentic to myself. And if I'm listening to the noise from all the coaches around me every single week, it is really hard for me to lean into what I know it is working for me. I'm not saying never listen to it. And if you listen to it weekly and it's working out so well for you, I encourage you to do that. But if it's causing you to be stuck, if it's causing you to rethink your life every week, then maybe just pause, maybe just take a break and then go back to it, because all of the noise can be really distracting and it can cause you to trust other people's ideas more than you're trusting your own. And your ideas are good. You have to believe that. You have ideas that nobody else has. You are innovative in ways that nobody else is. Think of that commercial from the Super Bowl, the Tubby or Tubi. I don't know how you say it. Have you ever seen a commercial like that? Because I sure haven't. And it is like, people are talking about that more than they're talking about the Super Bowl game, because it was different. It was innovative. And I guarantee you, whichever nerd came up with that in their meeting, some people were like, that is so dumb. That is so dumb. That doesn't even sound like a commercial, because it doesn't. But you guys, we're all talking about it because it was so different. You've probably had ideas before that you've stopped yourself from implementing because you've never heard anything like it. And you're like, is this even going to work? Try it. Try it and see, because the only way to find out is trying it and then evaluating whether or not it worked. Okay. And let me just give you a little tip for social media. Stop worrying about what people think. Talk to your stories, post on your page as if you are talking and posting to your best friend. It doesn't matter if people don't like you. It doesn't matter if people disagree with you. Be as authentic as you can. Don't try to write a post like you're some fitness Barbie if you're not some fitness Barbie. Like, that's how I started out, was knowing like I am not a fitness guru and I'm going to talk just like me. I'm going to show that I don't think I've shaved my legs since like July or something. And I'm not afraid to show that on my social media. I don't care, because I don't want people to be surprised when they meet me in person. I am all about community. I am all about getting my girls together in real life. And I want them to know what they're getting when they come to me in real life. So that's something I think about a lot when I'm posting on social media. I want to attract people who I'm going to have a good time with on a team retreat. Like that's so super important to me. I do team retreats probably, gosh, twice a year. And I want to make sure that I am the same person online that I am in real life. And maybe you need to ask your best friend or your husband or your sister or your brother, am I me on social media? And be ready for their response, because you know, you've seen people, you're like, you have like an Instagram voice, or like, you don't even say that. That's weird. Like, just be yourself. Be yourself. Watch your own Instagram stories back. Are you like, do you feel like that's you? And if not, be authentic to you. Like, it truly is a game changer, and people are going to sign up with you for you. We all offer the same thing, but they're choosing us because they relate with us, they connect with us in one way or another. And usually when I ask people like, why did you choose me? I have that on one of my forms for people when they sign up. They usually say because I'm real or because I'm authentic. And I value that so much. People know what you offer, and they're actually like coach shopping these days. So be you, and you're going to attract the people that you actually can help. Okay, third thing and last thing is the business is people, and that's never changing. If you feel overwhelmed right now about all of the changes in BODi, first of all, you're not alone. There's a lot to learn between body blocks and the name change and the mindset piece that's coming. But I just want to put any of your fears to rest. First of all, you can know and believe that the changes are good. They are good. They're going to change the game for us. But at the end of the day, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like information overload, just know that the bare bones of our business are the same. The business is people. Say it to yourself every single day. The business is people. When you get into work and you have 30 minutes to work, your business is people. You need to be getting into inboxes and having conversations with people about how this is life-changing and how it can be life-changing with them. The business is people. Social media is great. Reels are great. Like whatever, it's all great. But at the end of the day, we change lives of real people on the other side of the screen. And I think it's really easy to let that be lost on us when what we do is virtual most of the time. But I also want to encourage you to be brave and do things in person. That's something I've really been talking to my team about, because in person really does change the game. It could be you and one other person working out live together, and you never know how that's going to grow. We have the Champagne Gala coming up on March 4th. Be brave, reach out, get dressed up with a friend and watch it together. Like, the business is people. And the more you can surround yourself with people and do this thing in real life, the more natural it's going to feel doing it on social media too, because you've had those conversations. The business is people, okay? And that is not changing. And you can be confident about that, even if you're feeling nervous as heck about all the changes, even if you don't understand exactly how you're going to promote anymore, because BODi blocks come out on Mondays. Me too, you guys. My whole marketing plan has to be rearranged. But at the end of the day, I can find comfort in knowing I help people. Nothing really changes. My mission is the same. Do I have to rearrange some things? Do I have to market a little bit differently? Yeah, that's okay. Because the bare bones is I love people. I want to help people. I know how to attract people, and I know how to help them have a good time in my challenge group and get results. And that isn't changing. So that's all I have.
That was absolutely incredible. Who here wants to sign up with Paige? I'm like, I just want to be around you, Paige. You have an incredible energy. And those were some great, well-articulated tips. Like, I have a full page of notes right here. And all the ones with stars and box around them are ones that I really need to work on. So thank you for adding value to me and to the team. Do you have time for maybe one question?
Yeah, I do.
Have a question for Paige about anything? And if we don't, that's totally okay as well. Any question? Looks like Michelle has one.
I just have one question. What is your favorite thing to do in your challenge group to engage your people?
I love that. So I'm kind of crazy. I love Spirit Weeks. I know that is not everybody's cup of tea, but I go all out with Spirit Weeks, and my people love it and I love it too. And I'm not saying wear red day. I'm saying during COVID, I dressed up as the Tiger King and took pictures with my golden doodle. Like, I get into it and they love it. But if that's not your cup of tea, something else I just really love doing, I don't post in my challenge group every day with like content, because again, I really don't feel like I'm the expert and I don't want my people to think I'm the expert. So what I do is I do my check-ins every day and I say something meaningful or valuable or vulnerable about my workout. And I feel like it's really taught my girls, I only have girls in my group, to respond genuinely to me or to other people. And it gives them permission to check in the same way. So like if I'm 6 months postpartum, okay, with my second baby, and there are days where I don't feel great in my body. So if I was really having that sort of day, I talk about it in my group, which is giving them permission, number one, to encourage me. Like, thank the Lord for that, because I need it too. And number two, it's giving them permission when they check in to talk about if they're having a hard day. And then my girls flood posts with encouragement. So because I'm checking in like that, sometimes I have people like, they don't even check in with a picture. They'll just write a paragraph about how they're struggling and everybody jumps on and they're like, you can do it. Keep going. I've been there. And I feel like that is probably the most game-changing thing that's ever happened in my challenge group, to have people who are invested emotionally in each other's journeys.
I love that question. I love that response too. As you were sharing that, I'm like, man, I am not doing that. Like, I'm like, crushed my workout today, even if I'm on like 3 hours of sleep, and was like, that kind of sucked, but I'm here and I did it. So I'm like, I crushed it anyway. So I need to be more vulnerable and real, I think too. I can see how that would open up more connections. So thanks for sharing that. One other question in the comments, and we'll let you go, because I know those babies might wake up any minute. Jen Greenberg asked, do you do ongoing challenge groups of start and stop, a start and stop time, or like a month long, or do you have an ongoing group? What does yours look like?
Yeah, so I just switched this up actually. For a while I was doing separate, but after I had my daughter, I was like, I can't manage two anymore. So I do one. I don't know how long it's gonna last, hopefully all year, and then I'll probably start another one next year. But I just kind of have changed my strategy on this, and I am encouraging all of the girls in my group to do the same program with me. There is so much power in completing programs together. Like, I've felt that myself, even as a coach, when I was sometimes like, I got into this rhythm after I had my son, actually, where nobody was doing programs with me, and I was a coach. And I was picking things on my own, and there was never anybody doing like the same day, the same time with me. And it got really old and hard. It kind of felt like I was back to the very beginning, like before I was a coach. So I make it a point to tell my girls, it is best if we do programs together. And this year, if I notice that I have girls who are going off on their own frequently, I'm inviting them to coaching. And I even went live in my group like a couple days ago, and I was like, okay, the next thing we're doing is 30-day breakaway. If you are somebody who consistently doesn't move with the group, that's totally fine. You can do that. But you should think about being a coach, and you should think about getting 3 people to do it with you. Because if you have the confidence to do program after program without me and without me leading you, you have what it takes to be a coach. So that's going to be my new strategy moving forward, is we do things together. And if at any point you don't want to anymore, you should think about coaching, but also know you're always welcome to stay here. I just believe that you can do it.
I love that. Thank you. Awesome. Well, Paige, we will let you go. So you can have time for Valentine's Day, your little ones, and as your husband gets home from work. Awesome. Okay. Thanks everybody for being on the team call. This is recorded. So if any of your teammates would love to, or would get some value from this, please feel free to share it with them. And I'm inviting you, if you haven't committed yet, to join us in the next book club with Stories That Stick. So we can better learn how to tell our story and communicate with people. A lot of things Paige talked about on the team call, of just connecting with the right people, the people that will be here with us. So enjoy your Valentine's Day, and I hope you guys have an incredible one. See you guys later.